60% of car owners never read their owner's manual, and Mazda builds over 500 pages worth of features into every car they sell. That is a very expensive combination of ignorance. Today, we are revealing 11 hidden Mazda features most owners never discover, already built in and just waiting to be used. And at the end of this video, we are exposing the one setting most owners switch off by accident in week 1 that quietly makes their car less safe every single day after. Let us get into it. Number 11. The key fob window. Trick picture this. It is the middle of summer. Your Mazda has been sitting in a car park for 3 hours, baking in direct sunlight. You walk up to it and you already know what is about to happen. You open the door and a wave of hot air hits you like you just opened an oven. You do not have to do that anymore. On most modern Mazda models, you can roll all 4 windows down before you even get to the car. Here is how it works. Press the unlock button on your key fob 4 times in quick succession. On that 4th press, hold the button down. The windows drop. Hot air rolls out. By the time you actually open the door and sit down, the cabin has already had a chance to breathe. This has been confirmed working on the CX-30, CX-50, Mazda 3, and several other recent models. The exact number of presses can vary depending on your specific model year, so it is worth cross-referencing with your owner's manual to confirm the sequence for your car. Now here is the one warning that Mazda forum owners have flagged repeatedly. If you accidentally press the lock button 4 times instead of the unlock button and hold the 5th, you can put your key fob into sleep mode. When that happens, the proximity unlock and push button start both stop responding. Your car will not open when you grab the handle. It will not start when you press the button. The fix is straightforward. Press lock 4 times, then hold unlock on the 5th press and it comes straight back out of sleep mode. But it is the kind of thing that will absolutely ruin a Monday morning if you do not know it is possible. Use the trick, just use the right button. And while we are talking about things your car does without you realizing it, the next feature has been happening silently every single time you reverse, and most owners have not noticed it once. Number 10. Reverse mirror. Tilt. Every time you shift your Mazda into reverse, something small happens to your side mirror. The passenger side mirror tilts downward automatically, not dramatically, just enough to show you the curb. The parking line. The concrete bollard you are about 3 inches away from clipping. This is called reverse tilt down, and it is built into Mazda's mirror control system across most current models. It detects reverse gear and drops the selected mirror angle to give you a ground level view alongside the vehicle. The moment you shift back out of reverse, it returns to your normal set position without you touching anything. Here's what most people miss though. You can actually choose which mirror gets the tilt. Before you reverse, press the mirror selector button on the driver's door panel to choose left or right, and that is the mirror that tilts. Most drivers leave it on the passenger side because that is the curb they cannot easily judge from the seat. But if you are squeezing into a tight spot on the driver's side with a wall you cannot see, switching it across before you engage, reverse gives you the angle you actually need. It is a feature so quiet and so automatic that plenty of long-term Mazda owners have genuinely never clocked it happening. Ask them if their mirrors move when they reverse and they will look at you blankly and then immediately go out to check their car. But the mirror trick only works in the background. The next feature is sitting right in the center of your console in plain sight, and most people are using about 1/3 of what it is actually capable of. If this video is already showing you things about your car you genuinely did not know, hit that like button right now. It helps more Mazda owners find this and it takes you 1 second. Number 9. The commander knob is not just a dial. The commander control knob that sits in the center console of your Mazda behind the gear selector was designed to solve one specific problem. How do you let a driver control infotainment without forcing them to reach out and stab at a touchscreen while they are moving at motorway speed? Mazda's answer was a physical dial surrounded by shortcut buttons positioned exactly where your hand already rests. You turn it to scroll through options. You push it to select. Your eyes do not have to leave the road. Most owners figure that part out within the first week. What they do not figure out are the buttons around it. That nav button in the cluster jumps you directly to the map screen in 1 press. The music button goes straight to audio without navigating through the home screen. Home takes you to the main menu. Back takes you 1 step backwards in any menu. And the star button saves whatever you are currently looking at as a favorite so you can get back to it instantly later. The real trick is how Mazda actually designed you to hold your hand on this thing. Their own documentation describes resting the palm of your hand on the commander knob so that your fingers naturally land on each of the surrounding buttons without you needing to look down. Do it that way and you can move through every section of the infotainment system with small finger movements, keeping your eyes on the road the entire time. Most owners never read that instruction. They use the dial like a scroll wheel and completely ignore the ring of buttons around it, which means they are doing 3 times the work every time they want to change something. And just beneath the surface of that same system is a feature that quietly makes your Mazda feel like it was built specifically for you, and most owners have never once gone looking for it. Number 8. Driver personalization profiles. This one is for anyone who shares their Mazda with another person, or honestly, just for anyone who likes getting into their car and having it set up exactly the way they left it. Mazda's driver personalization system lets you save your preferred settings under a named profile: seat position, mirror angles, climate control temperature, head-up display height, steering wheel position on models with electric adjustment, infotainment layout, and favorites. All of it saved, all of it recalled the moment you select your profile, or, on vehicles with key-linked profiles, automatically detected from which key fob is being used. You sit down, the seat has already moved. The mirrors are already where you set them. The temperature is already on your preferred setting. You have not pressed a single button. To find this, go into the settings menu via the commander control, navigate to vehicle, and look for driver personalization or profile depending on your model year. The setup takes about 5 minutes, a one-time investment that gives back that 5 minutes every single morning in the form of a car that already knows what you want. If you have ever gotten into your Mazda after your partner drove it last and spent 45 seconds readjusting everything before you could comfortably pull out of the driveway, you already know exactly why this feature exists. And now, we have gotten through 4 features and we have not even touched what Mazda is doing to your car's physics every single time you take a corner. This next one has been working silently in the background since the day you drove out of the dealership, and it has a name that sounds like it belongs on a fighter jet. Number 7. G-Vectoring Control Plus. Let us be honest about something. When most people hear the phrase G-Vectoring Control Plus, their eyes glaze over immediately. It sounds like marketing language. It sounds like something they wrote in the brochure to justify a higher trim price. It is not. It is one of the most genuinely clever pieces of engineering Mazda has ever put into a road car, and the reason it sounds confusing is that it is designed to be completely invisible while it works. Here's the plain version of what it actually does. Every time you turn the steering wheel, the system makes a tiny automatic adjustment to engine torque. As you enter a corner, it reduces torque very slightly to shift a little extra weight forward onto the front wheels, giving them more grip right at the moment you need to turn. As you unwind the steering on the way out of the corner, it applies a brief, whisper-quiet braking force to stabilize the car back to straight ahead. You do not feel any of this as a mechanical event. There is no lurch, no jerk, no sensation of the brakes applying. What you feel instead is that the car tracks exactly where you point it with less effort and less correction on your part. Long journeys feel less tiring. Wet roads feel less anxious. The car just behaves. Mazda introduced G-Vectoring Control in the 2017 Mazda 6. They upgraded it to G-Vectoring Control Plus from 2019 onwards, starting with the CX-5 and Mazda 3, and it has been standard across most of the lineup ever since. The intent, according to Mazda, was to replicate what a highly experienced driver does naturally when managing weight transfer through corners, but to do it faster, more consistently, and without the driver having to think about it at all. Most Mazda owners have no idea it exists, but take it away, and they would feel the difference within the first roundabout. Now, the next feature is a safety system that a large number of owners quietly switched off during the first week and never revisited, and they do not realize what they turned off. Number 6. The i-Activsense settings. Mazda's i-Activsense is not one feature. It is an entire suite of safety and driver assist technologies that work as a group to reduce your risk on the road. Automatic emergency braking that can detect vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians ahead and apply the brakes if a collision is imminent. Blind spot, monitoring that lights up in the relevant mirror when a vehicle is sitting in your blind spot. Lane departure, warning that alerts you when you begin drifting across a lane marker without signaling. Lane keep, assist that nudges the steering back towards the center. Rear cross traffic alert that detects vehicles approaching from the side as you reverse out of a parking space. And Mazda radar cruise control with stop and go, which we will come back to in a moment. Every single one of those systems can be individually turned on, or had its sensitivity adjusted through the vehicle settings menu, which means the scenario that has happened to a significant number of Mazda owners goes like this. They buy the car. The first week, the lane departure warning beeps because they crossed a line while changing lanes on the motorway without indicating. It startles them. They find the setting and turn the sensitivity down, or turn it off entirely. Then 3 years pass and they have forgotten the setting exists. Meanwhile, they are driving without the alert that was designed to tell them when they are drifting out of their lane. Go into Settings, then Vehicle, then i-Activsense. Go through every item on that list. Check whether it is on. Check whether the sensitivity is set to something that actually works for how you drive, rather than how it was on the day you turned it down in frustration. The Mazda radar cruise control with stop and go feature deserves specific attention because it is the most capable thing in that entire list. Unlike basic cruise control that holds a fixed speed, regardless of what the car in front is doing, The radar system uses a front-mounted sensor to detect the vehicle ahead, maintains a set following distance automatically, and will slow the car all the way to a complete stop in traffic. When the car ahead moves, it accelerates again without you pressing anything. In a motorway traffic jam, this feature removes a significant amount of the physical and mental load of driving. A lot of Mazda owners discover it exists only when someone else mentions it. And the next feature is one that most owners either do not know, is there, or have simply never pressed the button for. It is unglamorous. It sounds boring, but once you start using it every day, you will question how you drove without it. Number 5. Auto Hold. This is the one that sounds like nothing until you try it. Auto Hold is a function that keeps your brakes engaged automatically when the car comes to a complete stop, holding the vehicle stationary without you needing to keep your foot pressed on the brake pedal. You brake normally, the car stops. When it detects a complete stop, it locks the brakes in place. You lift your foot off the pedal. The car stays perfectly still. It holds until you press the accelerator, at which point it releases cleanly and you move off. On a hill, in traffic, at a long red light on an incline, in a drive-through queue where you inch forward every 90 seconds for 6 minutes. In any situation where you would normally sit with your foot pressed on the brake pedal waiting, Auto Hold removes that requirement entirely. You stop, release the pedal, sit normally, and drive away when you're ready. On most Mazda models that include it, Auto Hold is activated by a button on the center console. It is usually labeled with a letter A inside a circle alongside the letter P, or simply reads Auto Hold. It sits close to the electronic parking brake button, which is why a lot of owners have looked straight at it without registering what it does. Some Mazda owners use it every single day and love it deeply. Others own their car for 4 years and never pressed the button once because nobody ever showed them it was there. If yours has it, try it the next time you're waiting at traffic lights on any kind of incline. Then try it again the next time you are stuck in slow traffic for 20 minutes. The second attempt is when people tend to decide they are never turning it off again. But speaking of settings people do not use, hit subscribe right now. We make exactly this kind of practical, no-nonsense content every single week. Features you already own, but nobody explained to you. And number 2 on this list is a safety feature that kicks in during a collision scenario, operates within milliseconds, and the vast majority of Mazda owners have never once read a single word about it. Number 4. The heads-up display, height that is wrong for you. If your Mazda has a head-up display, there is a very good chance it is not set correctly for your driving position. And if it is not set correctly, it is not doing the job it was designed to do. The head-up display projects key information onto a small transparent section of the windshield directly in your forward sightline, speed, navigation arrows, driver assist alerts. The idea is that you receive this information without moving your eyes from the road at all. No glancing down, no refocusing. The information comes to you rather than you going to find it. But here's the thing. If the projection is sitting too high or too low for your actual eye line from your actual preferred driving position, you are still making a small downward or upward movement with your eyes every time you check it, which is better than looking at a screen, but it is not what the feature was designed to deliver. In the settings menu, under display or head-up display, depending on your model and software version, there is a vertical adjustment that lets you move the projection up or down to suit your specific eye line. The adjustment range is enough to cover a meaningful variation in driver height and seat position. The correct way to calibrate it is this. Set your seat exactly the way you always drive. Do not sit up straighter than normal. Do not adjust for what seems right in a car park. Set it the way you actually drive on the road. Then go into the settings and move the head-up display until the projected information sits naturally in your forward view, readable without any eye movement away from the road ahead. 2 minutes. The difference in day-to-day usefulness is immediate and permanent. But the next feature is not about display settings or comfort. It is a safety system that your car activates in the worst possible driving scenario without you needing to do a single thing. Number 3. Secondary collision braking. This one is less of a discovery and more of a reassurance, but it belongs on this list because the vast majority of Mazda owners have never read about it, and knowing it exists genuinely changes how safe you feel in the car. Secondary collision. Braking is designed to reduce the harm caused by the second impact in a crash. Here's the specific scenario it addresses. Your Mazda is hit from behind by another vehicle. The initial impact pushes your car forward. That first collision is often survivable. The secondary collision, your car then striking the vehicle ahead of you, or a barrier, or an obstacle, is frequently where serious additional harm occurs. And in the fractions of a second between the first impact and the potential second, most drivers are still in the processing stage of what just happened to them. There is no time to react. Mazda's secondary collision. Braking system uses the airbag sensor network to detect when the vehicle has been hit above a certain impact threshold. The moment that detection happens, the system automatically applies moderate braking to slow or stop the car before a secondary impact can occur. At the same time, the hazard warning lights activate to alert surrounding traffic to the situation. The driver does not press anything. The driver does not have to be conscious or responsive. The system acts within milliseconds of the first impact, during exactly the window when human reaction time is simply not available. It is standard across most modern Mazda models. Most owners have never read about it, but it is there, and it has been there since the day they drove out of the showroom. The next feature is one that operates on the same invisible level, but it is working on every single drive, rather than only in emergencies, and it is the one that explains why your Mazda feels smoother and more planted than most cars in its class without you being able to put your finger on exactly why. Number 2. I-Stop and the fastest engine restart. Most Mazda owners know that their engine shuts off at red lights and restarts when they move their foot off the brake. That part they figured out. Some of them switched it off because they have had bad experiences with stop-start systems in other cars that felt slow, jerky, and unpredictable. Here's why Mazda's version is different, and why, if you have it switched off, it is worth reconsidering. The system is called Mazda i-Stop, and the reason it feels different from conventional stop-start technology is that it restarts the engine using an entirely different method. Most stop-start systems use the starter motor. The motor cranks the engine mechanically until it fires. That process takes around 500 milliseconds or more and produces a noticeable vibration and a slight delay before power returns. Mazda's i-Stop system does not use the starter motor for the restart. Instead, it injects fuel directly into a cylinder that is in the optimal piston position and ignites it. The combustion itself pushes the piston down and starts the engine from the inside out. The result is a restart that takes approximately 350 milliseconds. That is 30% faster than a conventional starter motor restart, and smooth enough that many Mazda owners are genuinely unaware the engine stopped in the first place. The system monitors battery charge, engine temperature, and climate control demand continuously. If the battery is too low or the cabin temperature requires the air conditioning to keep running, i-Stop will not shut the engine off. It manages the conditions for itself. Mazda developed i-Stop as part of their SkyActiv engineering philosophy, which is that every system on the car should feel natural and unobtrusive rather than mechanical and obvious. The fuel saving over time is real, but the primary goal was a stop-start system that did not feel like a stop-start system. If you have turned it off because of a bad early experience with it, try switching it back on and giving it a proper run over a few days of normal driving. You may find that what felt intrusive was actually your expectation from a different kind of system in a different car. And number 1 is the feature that ties everything on this list together. It is the one that sits in a settings menu most owners have never properly explored, and it changes how the car behaves on a level that affects every single drive. Number 1. The personalization menu that most owners have never opened. Inside your Mazda's settings menu, past the basic display and audio options, is a section that most owners scroll past and never go back to. It is usually labeled vehicle or vehicle settings or personalization depending on your model and software version, and it is the place where your car is waiting to be told exactly how you want it to behave. This is not about changing the clock or the language. This is the section that controls how individual systems on the car operate for your specific driving preferences. Auto hold behavior, whether the door locks automatically when you start moving, whether the windows close when you lock the car remotely, how the exterior lights respond when you walk up to the car, whether the lane keep assist applies gentle steering correction or just warns you, how sensitive the forward collision warning is, whether the cabin lights fade slowly or cut immediately when you lock up, whether the interior ambient lighting color matches your mood or just sits on white, how long the driver's door stays unlocked when you open it before it locks again. Most Mazda owners have never visited this section at all. They bought the car, drove it home in factory default mode, and it has been in factory default mode ever since. And the factory default mode was designed to be acceptable to the broadest possible range of people who might buy this car. It was not designed for you specifically. It was designed for the average. You are not the average. You have preferences, and your Mazda's settings menu has space for all of them, fully built in, waiting to be adjusted at no extra cost right now. Set aside 30 minutes with the car stationary and a coffee in hand. Go through the vehicle settings menu item by item, not to change everything, just to know what is there. Half of it you will leave alone. A few things you will change and immediately feel the difference, and at least one setting in there, almost guaranteed, will make you think, why was this not set this way from the beginning? That is what this entire list comes down to. Mazda builds thoughtful, detailed features into their their cars. They document them in a 500-page manual that 60% of owners never open, and the features sit there quietly ready for however long you own the car. Drop a comment right now and tell me which feature on this list you genuinely had no idea your car was doing. I want to know how many of you have been driving around with G-vectoring control, quietly managing your corners for years without knowing it had a name. And there is another video on your screen right now covering the hidden features most drivers across all brands are completely unaware of. Click it, I will meet you there.